Rosen creates a frame that is neutral enough to highlight the color and brilliance of the stories. Nevertheless, the totality transcends the effect of any one element. Thoughtful attention is paid to each anecdote, and a skilled and experienced hypnotherapist, who himself is a gifted practitioner of Ericksonian techniques, gives us a book that is, in effect, a teaching tale about a teaching tale. Let me give a sense here of the way the commentary flows in and out of the tales, taking the first part of Chapter 3, Trust the Unconscious, as my source. This chapter begins with a short anecdote about Erickson's having to give a speech on the spur of the moment, and saying to himself that he didn't have to prepare because he had confidence in the storehouse of ideas and experience he had built up over the years. Rosen underlines this theme of trust in one's unconsciously stored powers, and then includes a short vignette, Light Snow, haunting in its simplicity, about a childhood memory and the memory of when that memory was laid down. This story is followed by two more on the same theme. The last story is about Erickson's not talking when he was 4, and his mother's saying to people made uncomfortable by this fact, "When the time arrives, then he will talk." Rosen cuts back in briefly to say that this story is a good one to use with patients just learning how to go into trance. The next story is splendid. It's called Scratching Hogs. It describes a time when Erickson, who as a young man sold books to pay his way through college, was trying to sell some to a crusty old farmer. The man isn't having any and tells Erickson to go about his business. Erickson, without thinking, picks up some shingles from the ground and starts scratching the backs of the hogs the farmer is feeding. The farmer changes his mind and agrees to buy Erickson's books because, as he says, you know how to scratch hogs. This is followed by Rosen's commenting on the story and moving on to the occasion when he first read it. After he had asked Erickson why he chose Rosen to write the foreword to his book, Hypnotherapy. After explaining just what things about Rosen had made him wish to entrust the writing of a foreword to him, Erickson added, "I like the way you scratch a hog." This fragment gives an idea of the tapestried richness of the book. Each tale is treated as a precious object in a collection, full of memories, and Rosen shares with the reader the different meanings they evoke for him, both as a person and as a clinician. If I were a canny fellow like that farmer, I would buy this book. Sidney Rosen does know how to scratch a hog. Lynn Hoffman, Ackerman Institute of Family Therapy. Editor's note. On Thursday, March 27, 1980, my New York office called me and gave me the news that Milton Erickson had died. I was on a skiing vacation in Snowbird, Utah. My first thoughts were of Betty Erickson, and I called her. I learned that Erickson had finished his regular week of teaching on Friday, had autographed 12 books, and on Saturday had been somewhat tired during the day. Early Sunday morning, he suddenly stopped breathing. Betty Erickson applied artificial respiration and reinstated his breathing. A paramedic squad worked with her and took him to the hospital, where his blood pressure, which showed a systolic level of about 40, could not be elevated, even with the help of dopamine infusions. It was determined that Erickson was suffering from septic shock. A beta streptococcus infection was diagnosed, and it was manifested as a peritonitis. He did not respond to massive doses of antibiotics. Erickson's family congregated from all over the United States. It is a very devoted and large one, consisting of 4 sons and 4 daughters, along with grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Family members stayed with him while he was in a semi-comatose state. From their accounts, it appears probable that he died as he had often said he wanted to, with a smile on his face, surrounded by friends and family. He was 78 years old. About the funeral services, Betty Erickson said, "Don't put yourself out, Sid. It will only be a small gathering, and I know that some people are planning memorial services in different cities." Fortunately, I was able to drive to the Salt Lake City airport and arrive in Phoenix after a short flight. The calm and warmth of the Phoenix day was in marked contrast to the windy cold of the mountain I had just left.